Could the Miami Heat make a controversial move before the season gets underway in October? I am Nic Rohloff. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports, and we're showing a picture of Norman Powell in a Heat uniform. You might be asking, like, well, why would anything around Norman Powell being controversial? We just acquired him about a month ago. Well, the controversial move that Bleacher Report was mentioning was giving him a contract extension. One of the main reasons why Miami acquired Powell is because what he can provide this Heat roster in scoring and shooting, but also because he is still an expiring contract at about $21 million. Well, could the Heat actually give him a new extension before he ever steps foot on the hardwood for the Miami Heat? It would be an interesting idea. And we're going to talk about if Miami should do it on today's show, what that extension would look like. But before we get into everything surrounding Norman Powell, I want to get your thoughts real quickly. Would you extend Norman Powell right now before he ever put on a Heat uniform? Type Y for yes, type N for no, pin comment, go down and answer today's question because I really want to see what the people have to say. But I think we always have to start with what Norman Powell could actually make in an extension, and it is much different from if you extended him right now and if you waited till 2026 and at the end of this year to give him a new contract. If you extended him right now on August 2nd, well, the extension would be 3 years, $77.4 million, which actually is a pretty good value, I think, for Norman Powell. Yes, he's making more than $25 million a year, but if you were getting the same type of productivity that you got from Powell last year that he gave to the Clippers, averaging 21 a night while shooting 42% from three and 48% from the field, yeah, that is absolutely worth $25 million per season. But this is also a risk for Miami. You can give him that extension and eliminate the risk, or you can wait. Mentioned it. You can either sign an extension now or wait until 2026. Well, if you wait until this year passes, well, then Powell is eligible for a 4-year, $128.5 million extension next offseason. And boy, is that a massive difference. If you are just taking away the fact you're adding an extra year for a 32-year-old player, the AAV changes in such a massive way. If you gave him the 3-year extension right now, it's an average of $25.8 million per season. If you waited till 2026 and gave him the 4-year deal, it's a $32.1 million contract per season. Now, that's not what he's going to make every year. It's likely going to be a descending or ascending contract. But either way, it's a pretty big difference, $7 million to be exact, on an annual average value. So it's a tough call because you acquired Norman Powell hoping he would really help your basketball team. Well, are you going to wait and hope he does and then kind of be tied behind your back on, oh, are we going to extend him? And it was like, dang, we should extend him before he played for us. Like, it's just tough because you don't know if he's going to be as productive for you this season as he was with the Los Angeles Clippers. I mean, he was playing alongside Kawhi and James Harden. It's a little bit different than playing alongside Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. And Bleacher Report gave their thoughts on the matter, on if it is a controversial move, saying tacking on more years to Powell's deal, no matter the annual rate, runs counter to the Heat's overall financial leanness. Even if he'd sign an extension that keeps him trade eligible for this coming season, reinvesting him is a complicating factor. And I do agree with Bleacher Report here to a degree. Like, extending Norman Powell right now would go against everything that the Miami Heat have kind of signaled and told the fans and media through their actions on what they're trying to accomplish. They run after Kevin Durant, but they missed out. And then after that, everything pointed towards, okay, we're going to stay flexible. We're not going to give out big contracts, and we're not going to probably make any big-time moves unless a star player asks out. And not Norman Powell being a star power player, but he will impact your team while keeping you flexible due to him having an expiring deal. Like, if you just look one season ahead, the Heat's roster, which is currently at 14, only has 8 guaranteed contracts on it a year from now, which means there are 6 expiring deals Miami has. Norman Powell, I mean, you have Andrew Wiggins, yes, but it's a player option. You have, obviously, Terry Rozier. You have Simone Fontecchio. You just have all these players. You have over $60 million, including Haywood Highsmith as well, in expiring salary, which gives you a lot of flexibility next offseason in free agency and potentially making trades because it would allow you to take more money in than you are sending out. Well, if you sign Norman Powell and add $25 million to that cap table for next year, it really puts you out of the equation for a big-time signing, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to take money in on a salary. You'd have to match it like you currently do since this is a luxury tax team. More conversation to happen here, but make sure you subscribe to the channel because whether it is news, rumors, hypotheticals, and segments like extending Norman Powell, we will have you covered. A nice number, 24,305 subscribers. Shout out to 305. Join the channel today for daily Heat coverage. So we kind of went through what it would look like in a Norman Powell deal and why Miami may be hesitant. But the question that we're asking now is, should they extend him? Because this is a player who has been one of the best shooters in the entire NBA since he's entered the league, but he's really ramped it up over the last 4 seasons. And it just really came to the tipping point this year for Powell, where he shot a career-high 3-point attempts a game, 7.1, but still managed to shoot 42% from 3 and averaged the most points in his entire career. It's not like this is some outlier year as well. You look at the last 3 seasons he had before this year with the Clips, well, he's consistently shooting 40% from 3 on at least 5 attempts a night. But the thing about Norman Powell that I think gets a little bit misconstrued is that he's not just a shooter. He is a flat-out scorer. He can score in so many different ways. He can get to his spots, and he does an excellent job at leveraging his ability to shoot the ball and the attention that defenses show him to him ability to get to other spots on the floor. I will say I would have liked the floater number to be a little bit higher. He shot 44.9% in that range last year, but I was impressed with his ability to finish on drives at 54% of the time. And with him having a 61% true shooting percentage in the 82nd percentile, and the part that I really enjoy as well is that he gets to the free throw line. Miami really missed that once they traded Jimmy Butler because he got to the line 8-9 times a game last season. Well, Norman Powell got to the line about 4.5 times a night and made 3.5 of them. That's 91st percentile in free throws made. So he can get to the charity stripe, which is just another way to get easy points for a team that really struggles offensively, bottom 10 in each of the last 3 years. But he is excellent off the ball as well. Last season, he had 1.21 points per possession on spot-up opportunities. Simply put, one of the most efficient scorers in spot-up play types. And then also, he had a 1.12 points per possession on off screens. Whether it's a pin down, a curl, when he's moving, he can shoot it, man. He actually shot 45% from 3 last year on movement threes. That was 6th best in the NBA. This guy is a scorer off the ball, on the ball, and he really showed his full repertoire offensively a year ago for the Clips alongside Harden and Kawhi, but he was also very efficient when one of those two, or maybe sometimes both of them, were missing time. Make sure you get this Heat hoodie on sale. I know Heat culture is a hot topic, but hey, it's a nice hoodie. And you can get it 50% off right now. Usually $70. You get it for $35 when you go to chadsports.com/culture sale. That link's in the description and comments of today's video. Take advantage now because sizes are running out. We've already seen 3Xs go, but there are small, medium, large, extra large 2Xs, so grab yours today. Before we give my thoughts on if they should extend them and my prediction on if they will, I do want to make note, this is a Miami Heat guy. This is someone that Eric Spoelstra, I think, will really fall in love with, and you could actually already see him and this coaching staff taking a liking to Norman Powell. I mean, when he was at Summer League, he was asked about Powell, and he said the competitive spirit, the nature, the toughness that he brings. That's the part we really liked about him initially. Excited to have his personality and his competitiveness with our group. And I mean, if you ever hear Eric Spoelstra talk, he's always going to mention competitiveness. And when you look at Norman Powell's career, I mean, nothing's came easy for him. It wasn't like he was the most highly touted recruit. He wasn't drafted very high, and he has been bounced around multiple teams. Toronto, Clippers, Portland, multiple times. Like, it's just never been given to Norman Powell. He's always had to fight for it, and I really appreciate that, and I know Eric Spoelstra does as well. But with all the positive talk we've had on Norman Powell in this episode, it's not all roses. Like, I don't want to act like it should be some, oh, let's get this extension done. There's no downside to it whatsoever. No, there's some big things that I have reservations on when extending Powell. Here are the main three. One, he's 32 years old. So if you give him a 3-year extension, well, you're taking him through his age 35 year. And we know in today's modern NBA and medicine and science that players play longer. I mean, we got people going at 42, 43 years old right now. So I'm not going to act like he's going to fall off a cliff, but it does give me a little bit of a pause. This isn't a young cat no more. We mentioned it. The flexibility that you have financially next offseason would be compromised if you gave Powell a contract that was giving him $25 million per year starting next offseason. And not to mention, he's 32 now, would be 33 when the extension kicks in next year. And the question I have to ask myself is that was it a one-year wonder? We showed the last 4 seasons, and when I mean one-year wonder, I'm not talking about his shooting ability. He's going to be a 40% three-point shooter every single year and give you at least 12, 13 points a night. But we have never seen Norman Powell average 20 points a game, put the ball in the deck, and create for himself and teammates as often and efficiently as he did last season for the Clippers. I have a little bit of a concern on that not being something that translates into Miami because we've really never seen Norman Powell take that role before. Maybe he was being misused. Maybe that's who he is now, but it is a little bit concerning. And the final word we'll have here on today's show. You're asking for my idea. I'm probably not extending. I think Norman Powell is a terrific player. I can't wait to see him be next to Tyler Hero, Andrew Wiggins, Bam, and Ware in this starting 5 because I do think he ultimately starts. And he's going to be a perfect fit and is exactly what Miami needed from an offensive side for a team that's been in the bottom 10 in offensive metrics 4 of the last 5 years. But I don't want to extend him because I do not want to lose that flexibility. I know you could extend him and then trade him at the deadline, but how many teams would be really in on Powell if you have that long contract coming alongside him? And if I'm going to predict it, I also believe Miami will not extend either. Like, I wouldn't. I don't think Miami would because I know the Heat really want to keep that flexibility. So do I. And I don't think Miami is going to be willing to extend a player without seeing them in their locker room, in their building, and how they fit with their already existing young core. There are certain exceptions, like a Jimmy Butler, like a Kevin Durant, like these high-level All-NBA guys, you trade for them, you're extending them. But for players that are fringe and above-average players, fringe all-stars, yeah, they got to prove themselves in the building before a team would extend them. If he balls out early in the year, maybe they get an extension done early in 2026. But at least right now in the offseason, I do not forecast Miami getting something done with Norman Powell. But if the Heat did get something done with Norman Powell, we would have you covered with a video. So subscribe today and join the family here at the Heat Report for daily content around the Miami Heat.